Remember that song that we've been watching the reactions to lately, and it really causes a lot of emotion, by James Blunt, the one about monsters, chasing the monsters away. And in that song he sings about, it's his turn to chase the monsters away. The history of that song is that his dad had 4-stage cancer, and James Blunt recognized that it was his turn, basically, to help his dad, to give back to his dad what his dad gave him as a young person. When parents are good parents, they help children to overcome fear, and they help their children to overcome anxiety. They help children by taking care of them, And so I kind of resonate with that song, because every time I hear it, I don't think so much of my dad, although I was there for my dad and I chased his monsters away, because he went through all kinds of fear and different things that happened because of dementia. But when I think of chasing monsters away, in the climate that's happening now in Alberta, with the separation talks and with all the ugly, ugly, ugly comments I'm getting from people who are racist, and who believe that Indigenous people don't have any rights on this land, disabled people don't have any rights, Two-Spirit LGBTQ people don't have any rights. They're so disregarding human beings as having any rights whatsoever. Those are monsters. Those policies that are created by Daniel Smith, those legislations that have been put forth, that have not been put through, royal ascension yet, so they're not yet law. Understand that, folks. But so you write to your Lieutenant Governor of Alberta and let her know that you don't want that to go through. And the other part is, when these policies and legislations are put through, Daniel Smith is deliberately cutting places of funds for people who are vulnerable sectors, people who can't go out and get a job, people who can't go out and raise funds on their own or do things to increase their financial status, and that is a monster. In my mind, that's a monster. So that song by James Blunt really, really tells me that we need to step up as a people. It reminds me that there was a time as Indigenous people, our ancestors stood up and they fought the monsters, federal governments in different levels, provincial governments once they came in, and different legislations, laws that oppressed our people and kept us in a place of being bound to Canadian government. Now, the Indian Act is one of those monsters, because it keeps us bound. It keeps people on reserves, imprisoned on reserves, because if they leave the reserve, they don't have the same entitlements as if they stay on the reserve. So to me, that legislation, the Indian Act, is a monster that needs to be addressed, and I'm pretty sure our ancestors did not want that type of ruling over us as a people. If we truly think of ourselves as sovereign people, we must act as sovereign people and work diligently to get rid of policies, laws, and that control our lives, impose other people's values upon our lives, other people's ways of thinking, people's ways of living upon our lives, and create a governing structure that goes right across the land, that is our Indigenous sovereignty, that sits in places of power. When you think of monsters, assimilation policy, a monster. Many of us have had that experience of having someone in the residential school. Foster care, a monster. Child welfare, a monster. These are all colonial structures. These are not us. This is not our laws, our ways of doing things. And Canadians need to step up and fight some of these monsters as well. Really? Because now These monsters are coming after you and your livelihood, and they're coming after you to obtain what they want in the form of oil, especially here in Alberta. They want total control of the oil, which they will ultimately sell to the United States, and possibly, make Alberta, if they should succeed, which they never will. But suppose they did, they would make Alberta the 51st state without a blink of an eye. That's monsters. They give no consideration. Other word for them is sociopaths, psychopaths, people who don't give a shit about nobody else. They don't care the ramifications of what laws they put through, legislations they put through, whatever they put through that disqualifies other human beings. That's monsters. And we, the people, need to stand up to those monsters. It's our turn. It's our turn to make the monsters go away.
Aye, aye.